So my name is Hannah Suarez, and I run a project called Brisbane Creative Industries. I also work in the online media and events industry, working as the online marketing coordinator for Brisbane Festival. And the topic that I want to discuss with you tonight is called the digital heartbeat. Why the digital heartbeat? Last year, I was working on a Twitter account for Brisbane Festival and noticed that there were a number of tweets coming in for QB River Fire, and that's how the term came up. How can big events such as QB River Fire get broadcasted online? So that's the founder of Twitter on TED, and it's really interesting that the feedback is instantaneous these days. It's no longer what are you doing, but more or less what's happening right now. And most of the time, it's people just discussing what they love about a situation in front of them. And it's, for example, there's a forum called Under the Radar, and there are debaters, which is an Estonian group which encourage people to take part in a public sauna. And this is another example. Here's someone live tweeting something that's happening on television. I think I used to not know why people would want to live tweet until, of course, I've noticed the Australian election. I wonder who here has taken part in the Twitter feed in the discussions during the Australian elections, especially during when they're counting it. And I guess the main focus is QB River Fire, and it's really great that this event is running about 5 days after, so then I could start using the stats from that event. So here it is, so the top hashtags, River Fire was number 5, so you could really tell that there were a lot of broadcasts happening in this 21-minute fireworks event in Brisbane. As well as that, at 8 p.m., it went up to 351 tweets per hour, so that's kind of like the digital heartbeat. And even Kevin Rudd had a great time tweeting out that, he's having a blast at River Fire. So that's an example of a digital heartbeat in action, as well as live pictures, videos, tweets. I think concerts such as, I Love Muse, which is why I've chosen this. Concerts are a really great way to get that digital heartbeat happening. Someone enjoying the songs or a certain beat. And I kind of see it as something like this. You know how you've got the different circles, and that's someone experiencing an event, and it sort of overlays over someone else's experience. So if you're watching the River Fire feed or this feed, you can sort of tell. And the reason being is, I guess people like to share their experiences. That's the reason why I've chosen the word heartbeat. I'm not sure if it's a generation thing or if it's something that everyone does. It's kind of hard to tell these days. I mean, I'm really interested in something like the London 2012 Olympics. I mean, even though that says 2011, by the way. So, yep. Something like the Olympics, where it's a major event in London. It'll be really, really interesting to see what people do, especially in the really tense moments in sport. Something like that. Thanks, Frank. Go Nats. Could you imagine someone, maybe 100 people in a stadium, tweeting that, giving their support out? And one of the most recent example is something like the World Cup. I'm not a soccer person, by the way, but it sort of took me a while to get used to it, and that's how I sort of started realizing, hey, even though it's not fireworks, and even though it's not, like an entertainment kind of thing, well, it's kind of, all the same thing. So it's people supporting it. It's kind of like that. It's pulsating towards the knockout rounds, and pretty much just picking up on the last round. And I kind of see this stuff, I guess, as kind of like mist gathering onto a window. You sort of have it condensing together until a trail forms, and you can sort of tell, hey, this is what's happening right now. And here's another example. I guess if for those tweeting right now, you could you have this landscape, this scenery in front of you, and you're tweeting your thoughts out at the moment, and it sort of affects the way you see your events. And for me, from watching through the River Fire tweets, I guess it's kind of like a bucket, trying to decide, how to make sure that you're not in a tidal wave of information, and whether or not how you want to nourish it yourself through this information. And I guess, it's all about what we think. It's all about our digital heartbeat of our experiences. Thanks.
you.